A U.S. fighter jet pilot rescued by the special forces after being shot down over Iran has reportedly told intelligence officials he saw Iranian drones hovering in the air with multiple drones moving as one in a formation that resembled a jellyfish. Is this a secret that could reveal a shocking advance in Iranian drone capabilities, and what would that mean? We are decoding that for you in just a bit. Also on the show for you tonight, China has won the latest round in the machine wars. It now boasts of the world's fastest supercomputer, beating America. We get you a detailed report and telling you all that you need to know about the supercomputer. A Gravitas special report on the mounting anger over Winston Churchill's role in the 1943 Bengal famine. And artwork in Britain has now been removed after growing outrage. How many Bengalis did Churchill kill? All this and lots more coming up. Our next story is about an explosive description that's been made by a U.S. fighter jet pilot, one which has already sent shockwaves far and wide and could turn out to be a major trump card for Iran. A secret that could perhaps reveal a shocking advance in Iranian drone capabilities. According to a CNN report, a U.S. fighter jet pilot rescued after being shot down over Iran in April described a shocking sight before ejecting from his aircraft. According to that report, the pilot described seeing multiple Iranian drones hovering in the air, moving as one in a formation that resembled a jellyfish. The report says the account was shared by the pilot with intelligence officials during a debriefing after the incident. The report adds what one of the sources familiar with the pilot's witness account told CNN, quoting, multiple drones interconnected and moving as one with smaller drones below the bigger drones like legs, quote unquote. The report also saying another source told CNN the pilot described witnessing a minefield of drones in the air. According to the report, the technical term for the capability described by the pilot is one-to-many meshed networking. Adding that in general, mesh networking allows an operator to command several drones at a time. Remember, the downing of the F-15 fighter jet was unprecedented. It was then the first time that a U.S. aircraft was shot down over Iran during the conflict. And that in itself carried major implications. And what has emerged now is extremely significant for a number of highly crucial reasons. First things first, this has already triggered a huge row in the United States. According to the CNN report, it has caused a firestorm of debate within the U.S. intelligence community. The report saying U.S. intelligence officials disagreed on how to interpret what the F-15 pilot described and whether the pilot could recount the incident clearly. That's what the report says. All this is especially significant because the maneuver, as described, could mean a huge leap in Iran's ability to use drones. The report also saying while the exact cause of the F-15 downing is still being investigated, initial reports indicated that it was possible the drone formation had in some way enabled Iran to shoot down the American jet. And all of this, remember, coming on top of how Iran's drone capabilities have already been making their presence felt in more ways than one and reshaping how wars are conducted in the skies. Remember, the country has spent years manufacturing and supplying unmanned drones to its allies and has been deploying them at scale itself. In fact, cheap drones have been reshaping the war in the sky. One Shahid drone costing between $20,000 and $50,000, according to estimates by the Center for Strategic and International Studies. For example, according to a Reuters report earlier, in just the first week of that conflict, Iran launched more than 1,000 drones, and it is estimated to have the capacity to produce around 10,000 per month. For comparison, Reuters also calculated how many drones could be manufactured with the funds used for just one Patriot interceptor. The cost of one Patriot interceptor, about $4 million reportedly, could supply 115 one-way drones, which cost about $35,000 each. And zooming out, there's also the aspect of the kind of impact the war has had for America's interceptor arsenal. According to a CSIS report, annual production rates indicating that interceptors will be hard to come by when the U.S. allies seek to replenish stockpiles. The enormous cost of the war has already been a major source of debate. Remember, at this point, the U.S. and Iran are negotiating a deal that would end the war, the focus remaining on multiple crucial aspects, including Iran's nuclear program. At the same time, what is the sentiment looking like on the ground in the US and Iran? Well, it's bad news for both Trump and Netanyahu. For Netanyahu, in fact, things continue to look grim. According to the results of a Jewish People Policy Institute survey, majority of Israelis view the agreement between the US and Iran negatively and feel that the war's objectives were not fully achieved, while 55% of Israelis expressed concern about the emerging agreement. Only 23% viewed it as beneficial for Israel. Meanwhile, few in America say the Iran war was worth it. A Reuters Ipsos poll finding just 1 in 4 Americans believes President Trump's war with Iran was worth its costs. And a majority worry that a truce with Tehran is unlikely to last. That tells you a lot about the sentiment on the ground. And the poll also showing the war weighing heavily on Trump's popularity, with his approval rating dropping to 34%, a return to the lowest level of the second term that was last touched in an April survey, just for context. So that's yet another setback for Donald Trump and Netanyahu on the ground. And on the battlefield, while Iran's inexpensive drones have already been a headache for America, questions about Iran's drone program coming at a time like this and the possibility that its capabilities have seen a major leap are bound to haunt the United States. Switching gears for now. The next battle between China and America is not being fought with missiles or armies. It's being fought with machines, data centers, laboratories. China now boasting of the world's fastest supercomputer. It snatched away that crown from America. A new tech race is heating up where the winner could shape the future of AI, quantum computing, robotics, and overall global power, it seems. Take a look.
For decades, America held the crown for technological dominance. Silicon Valley built the world's most powerful companies. US universities led scientific breakthroughs. American chips powered the digital revolution. But now, a new challenger is moving at an extraordinary speed. China has announced a major supercomputer breakthrough the Line Shine computer in Shenzhen, China, displaced top-ranked US computer El Capitan. The Chinese supercomputer can perform more than 2 quintillion calculations per second. Just to explain, a modern laptop would need to run continuously for hundreds of years to finish the quintillion calculations. This feat marks a symbolic moment in the race for technological supremacy. It is a powerful signal that Beijing wants to challenge America's control over the digital future. But this is not just a competition between two supercomputers. The real battle is much bigger. It is happening across artificial intelligence, where the United States still has some of the world's strongest AI companies, research networks, and semiconductor designers. But China is closing the gap through massive investment, huge data resources, and a manufacturing system built for scale. The fight is also spreading into quantum computing, the next frontier of machines that could solve problems far beyond today's computers. Then comes batteries. When it comes to technology powering electric cars, energy storage, and future industries, China already dominates much of the global battery supply chain, giving it a major advantage. And in robotics, the contest is becoming even more intense. Factories, warehouses, and homes could soon be transformed by intelligent machines. China's industrial strength gives it a powerful position in this race. America still leads in several critical areas, especially advanced AI development, chip design, and cutting-edge research. But China is rapidly closing the gap. Whoever weaponizes these technologies of tomorrow first will dictate the global order for the next century. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Last week, an artwork at London's National Portrait Gallery created a stir after it revisited Winston Churchill's role in the 1943 Bengal famine. Millions of Indians died back then, and now this artwork has been removed after growing outrage. In fact, the 40-minute-long video installation titled Persistence referred to the starvation of the Indian population by Churchill during the 1943 famine. This came as a surprise in the UK, which venerates Churchill as a leader who stood up to Hitler and helped win the Second World War. But this was followed by pushback from powerful quarters. Andrew Roberts, a member of the UK's upper house, and 50 more peers, including Churchill's grandson, shot off a letter to the National Portrait Gallery describing the portrayal of Churchill as a barefaced lie and ideologically motivated rant. They stated that the Bengal famine was caused by a typhoon. They also claimed Churchill told his war cabinet to make every effort to help those affected and even asked international leaders to send food grains to India. Now, why did an award-winning artist, Helen Kammock, decide to withdraw her video installation is the immediate question. As per reports, she claimed that there was incredible pressure on artists and institutions to bend to external pressure and to be silent. But she also emphasized that to challenge and explore ideas and history is vital to a healthy society. On its part, the National Portrait Gallery distanced itself from the views in the video and acknowledged the opinions of those who were offended by the reference to Churchill. The Bengal famine has remained one of the least acknowledged tragedies of the colonial era. While Churchill's statues stand across Britain, the suffering of millions of Indian men, women, children has often been relegated to the margins of history, it seems. Was it a disaster made deadlier by decisions of Churchill? Let's just take you back to the 1940s. The Bengal province, which was then part of British India, experienced a huge food crisis as Japan's occupation of Myanmar cut off rice exports, extensive crop damage because of a powerful cyclone in October 1942 added to the people's woes. However, the crippling blow was Britain's wartime policy of stockpiling and diverting foods for its forces in anticipation of a Japanese invasion. As part of this denial policy, the colonial administration aimed to prevent food stocks from falling into enemy hands. It also confiscated boats and carts, thereby disrupting transport network, which made it harder for food to actually reach those in need. Churchill, who was the prime minister back then, has been accused of ignoring warnings of mass starvation. Not just that, the relief shipments arrived only after the crisis escalated. Owing to the subsequent price inflation, food became unaffordable for millions, basically. Families sold their possessions to survive. Entire villages were pushed into starvation. Thousands flocked to Kolkata in search of help, only to die on the streets from hunger and disease. And by the time the crisis eased, an estimated 3 million people had perished, 3 million lives. The latest controversy over Churchill in the UK raising uncomfortable questions that Britain needs to answer. Is Britain still in denial about the systemic exploitation of India during the colonial rule? Will the UK government offer an unconditional apology to millions of Indians who lost their lives? The Bengal famine remains a painful reminder of that dark chapter of colonial rule. US Second Lady Usha Vance has broken her silence on why she has chosen to remain Hindu. Earlier, remember, her husband, the US Vice President J.D. Vance, had expressed hope that she may one day convert to Christianity. Sharing insights on their interfaith marriage in a recent interview, Usha Vance reportedly said she grew up in a stable Hindu household and never felt the same need to seek a different faith that shaped her husband's spiritual journey. Revealing why the church worked for him, she said J.D. Vance found stability through faith and organized religion. Usha's comments come after J.D. Vance, remember, previously said he hoped his wife might one day be moved by the Christian faith in the same way that he was. However, Usha Vance reportedly said many people misunderstood those remarks. She dismissed suggestions reportedly that her husband is actively trying to convert her. And joining his wife on the interview to CBS Sunday Morning, J.D. Vance opened up about his spiritual journey, in fact, saying that he grew up in a non-traditional household. He said he felt like a revolving door of people coming into his life with frequent changes in caregivers, including his parents and grandparents. He described his youth as marked by movement and chaos, adding that it led him to search for something more rooted and stable in his adult life. The US Vice President faced massive backlash after he said he believed in the Christian gospel and hoped his wife would eventually come to see it the same way. He made these remarks while responding to an audience question at a rally in Mississippi last year. Last week, at the US-Iran peace talks in Switzerland, remember, J.D. Vance reportedly joked that over the past 3 months, there have been only 2 important people in his life. His wife, who is an Indian, and the other, the Pakistan Army chief. Listen to this.
I have joked that I have 2 very, very important people in my life, an Indian and a Pakistani. The Indian is my wife, and the Pakistani is Field Marshal Munir. And I've probably talked to Field Marshal Munir more than I've talked to anybody else over the last 3 months.
Shifting focus now, the United Nations has accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza by deliberately targeting Palestinian children. A new UN inquiry saying Israeli authorities and security forces intentionally killed children during the war. Actions that it says amount to genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes in Gaza, as well as war crimes in the West Bank. The findings coming from the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry. The investigation examined alleged violations against Palestinian children since the Israel-Hamas war started. This was in October 2023, remember, October 7, 2023. According to the Commission, children accounted for around 30% of those killed in the Gaza war. The report states that between October 7, 2023 and October 7, 2025, at least 20,179 children lost their lives, representing nearly 1/3 of the overall death toll. The Commission says Palestinian children were deliberately targeted and killed during the war, including after a ceasefire came into effect in October 2025.
The Commission found indisputable evidence with regards to the deliberate, targeted killing of Palestinian children, including since the October 2025 ceasefire, the use of torture, inhumane and degrading treatment, including use of sexual and gender-based violence against Palestinian children.
The inquiry further stating that Israeli forces continued using high payload munitions and wide area effect weapons in densely populated residential areas despite mounting child casualties. The Commission says the scale of the child deaths indicates such attacks were intentional. Not just that, the report also says repeated displacement, widespread military attacks, and shortages of aid, food, and medicine severely damaged children's health and development in Gaza, leading to preventable deaths and long-term trauma. It adds that attacks on healthcare and reproductive facilities affected newborn survival rates, while nearly all children in Gaza now require psychological support. The United Nations says more than 1 million children urgently need psychological and social support. According to UN officials, 96% of children believe death is imminent. Imagine that. Around 61% suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, 38% from depression, 41% from anxiety. These are children we are talking about. Meanwhile, in the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, the Commission documented a sharp rise in violence by the Israeli settlers against Palestinian children. It also reported evidence of torture, including sexual and gender-based violence. During mass arrests and detention, basically. The report says Palestinian children, particularly boys, faced systematic mistreatment, including forced stripping, beatings, food deprivation, allegedly. The Commission concluded that such treatment constituted crimes against humanity. Israel rejected the findings. Israel's mission in Geneva, in fact, called the UN report sham, saying that every child deserves protection and accusing the inquiry of ignoring what it described as the brutal tactics of Hamas. Israel also argued that the report failed to provide context regarding the constant threat faced by its security forces in the West Bank. Palestinians and Hamas demanded accountability, meanwhile, after the release of the UN inquiry. Listen in.
We want actual implementation on the ground by putting those criminals on trial for the war crimes and genocide they committed against this unarmed population.
The UN report reaffirming that the occupation committed genocide against Palestinian children in the Gaza Strip during the war on Gaza is further evidence of the scale of the genocide committed by the occupation.
And before we go on any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. Coming up on Gravitas Crime Tracker, we tell you about a shocking case in India involving a fiancé, a secret relationship allegedly, and a fatal trek. Is France divided over air conditioning for all, and why? We tell you what things are looking like in Europe as it continues to get baked given the high temperatures. Ketan Agarwal, Sia Goyal, they appear to be the perfect couple from the outside. They were set to marry in November. But tragedy struck on the 18th of June. Ketan died after falling from nearly 400 feet into a gorge at a fort in Maharashtra's Pune district. And in a shocking twist, the police is probing this as a case of premeditated murder. Ketan, a 26-year-old businessman, was engaged to Sia in the month of February. She initially told the police that his death was accidental, reportedly claiming that he slipped while taking photographs at that popular trekking destination. But then the case took a whole new turn after the police discovered that Sia had an alleged boyfriend named Chetan Chaudhary, whom she knew for about a year reportedly. On Monday, the police formally arrested the duo for plotting and executing Ketan's murder, allegedly. As per the police, they wanted to continue their relationship and viewed Ketan as an obstacle. In another startling revelation, it has now come to light reportedly that Sia had prepared 4 plans to kill her fiancé, allegedly. As per sources, the first murder attempt was on the 31st of May, when she convinced Ketan, allegedly, to come to that fort, but she was unable to carry out the crime given unforeseen reasons. It's learned reportedly that Sia planned another visit to this fort on the 4th of June. But this also went in vain as Ketan's family objected to their visit. 4 days before the actual alleged murder, the couple again went to the fort. While Sia reportedly pushed him, Ketan survived by clutching a bush. In a cover-up bid, she allegedly claimed that she was trying to save him from a snake. Despite that, they went to the fort once again. This was on the 18th of June, when Ketan was allegedly killed. That's not all. According to sources, Sia reportedly had a contingency plan in place. If her attempt there did not succeed, she allegedly plotted to kill him in the picturesque hill station of Mahabaleshwar, in another perceived attempt to gain sympathy and allegedly to put the police off track. She shared an emotional post on her account. This was on the 19th of June. That was Ketan's birthday. Her post featured a video compilation with messages that said, "Why did you leave me when I loved you so much?" But the police's suspicion got triggered after tracking the CCTV footage, basically. It spotted a man wearing a hood. Despite temperatures soaring to 33 degrees Celsius, he was wearing that hoodie, later identified as Chetan Chaudhary. The man left his phone behind in his shop and followed Ketan and Sia to the fort, reportedly. Sources also revealing that Sia switched off her mobile internet after reaching the fort so that her location cannot be traced, reportedly. The police established a connection between her and her alleged boyfriend after discovering that they talked for 238 hours, spread over 2,000 phone calls. Another incident triggered the police, in fact, while the couple had planned a pre-wedding photo shoot trip to Bali in the first week of June. The plan was aborted at the very last minute. As per the police probe, Sia deliberately misplaced Ketan's passport, allegedly, so that they could not travel. In fact, this set the stage for his alleged murder. Meanwhile, a pall of grief descending on Ketan's family. The victim's mother expressed shock at Sia's alleged involvement, citing that she did not find anything suspicious in her behavior. His distraught father also questioned Sia on why she had to take such a drastic step. With Sia and her alleged boyfriend in police custody till the 29th of June, the investigation is set to gather pace. Amid all of this, the grieving family has urged the government to fast-track the case and demanded the strictest possible punishment for the accused. Moving on, an intense heat wave engulfing Western Europe, resulting in 50 deaths in France alone. At least 94 million people in Europe reportedly expected to experience temperatures over 35 degrees Celsius, most of them in France and Spain. Our next report decoding how these temperatures and, in fact, climate change is also making heat waves more severe in France particularly.
Picturesque vineyards, iconic museums, sun-kissed beaches of the French Riviera, and the charming snow-capped peaks of the Alps. France, the country known as the ultimate dream destination in Europe, is in the grip of a brutal heat wave. The ever-crowded streets of Paris wear a deserted look. The Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, two of the most visited tourist attractions in the world, have announced earlier closing times. More than half of the country remains under a red heat alert. France's national average temperature stands at 29.8 degrees Celsius, the hottest in nearly 80 years. The latest bout of extreme weather has brought first major power outage to the country in decades, leaving around 68,000 households without electricity in northwestern France. The record-breaking heat has brought normal lives to a grinding halt. 1,800 schools have been forced shut. Many others have shortened classroom hours to send students home early.
We need to very clearly rethink how exams are organized so that everything, oral and written, takes place in the morning over the coming years. So we are going to start work on this. In fact, we have already started on the administrative side. We will of course work on it with input from staff and from those involved in the state education system.
The sale of fans and air conditioners has skyrocketed in a country where most buildings are not designed to deal with extreme heat.
Air conditioning, it feels good. Yes, absolutely. Let's not kid ourselves. I don't have it at home, so it really does feel great. You just want to spend the whole day there. In the shopping center, editor's note.
Experts say the scorching temperatures have strained infrastructure built before human-driven climate change, made heat waves longer, more frequent and more intense. The heat is especially punishing for thousands of Parisians who live in attic apartments under the French capital's iconic grey roofs. Although such roofs are long-lasting, those trap and conduct heat both inside apartments and to the city's air.
This particular apartment, because of the fact we have only one window and because of the fact it gets light from about midday to when the sun sets, which here is like 10 p.m., it means it's just baking in the whole afternoon and it's impossible to just get a respite from it.
The intense heat wave is triggered by a rare weather pattern called Omega Block that locks hot air over a region for days. As France sizzles, the fight over air conditioning has led to a political divide in the country. While the far right is championing air conditioning, the left is calling for renovations and green spaces. The burning question is, Should there be air conditioning for all? For now, the French are forced to adapt to a new normal while an unprecedented heat dome stalls over Western Europe. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
A new naval race taking shape in the Pacific. North Korea is moving its nuclear ambitions from hidden missile sites to the open waters, sending out a warning that could reshape the entire region's security balance. As Pyongyang expands its military reach, the US and its allies are watching every move very closely. Our next report getting you the details on how Kim Jong-un is building a nuclear navy, it seems.
For decades, the flashpoint on the Korean peninsula remained locked to land-based missile silos and secret underground bunkers. The world watched the skies for a potential threat. Now, the danger is moving directly into deep water. A chilling naval expansion is underway, threatening to upend the delicate balance of power across the Pacific. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un commissioned the Chohyeon, a formidable 5,000-ton multi-mission destroyer. Pyongyang says the warship is equipped with a range of systems, including anti-aircraft and anti-ship weapons, as well as nuclear-capable ballistic and cruise missiles. Kim Jong-un promises a larger naval force, signaling that Pyongyang wants nuclear deterrence not only on land but also at sea. The shift comes after years of North Korea expanding its missile program. From long-range ballistic missiles to submarine-based weapons, the country has steadily tried to increase the range and flexibility of its arsenal. A nuclear-armed naval force could allow North Korea to operate beyond its coastline and create new challenges for countries across the Pacific. But this military expansion is unfolding in a region already on high alert. South Korea has strengthened its own defense posture, increasing military cooperation with the United States. Seoul and Washington have expanded joint drills and strategic coordination, sending a message that any threat from Pyongyang will face a combined response. The rivalry has deep roots. Since the Korean War, the Korean Peninsula has remained one of the world's most heavily militarized zones. North Korea has built its nuclear program over decades, while South Korea and the US have relied on alliances and advanced military capabilities to counter the threat. Now, with Kim Jong-un pushing towards a nuclear navy, the balance of power is entering a new phase. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
The fallout of the Epstein files continues to cast a long shadow on the upper ranks of power. Billionaire Bill Gates, whose name appeared in documents reportedly released by America's Department of Justice. It's now emerged that Epstein tried to blackmail him reportedly. During his appearance before the U.S. House Oversight Committee on the 10th of June, Gates expressed regret for meeting Epstein in the first place, and he denied having victimized anyone or witnessed any criminal conduct by the convicted sex offender. He also asserted that he never visited Epstein's island. However, the transcript of his testimony released by the committee reportedly has laid bare startling revelations. To start off with, he allegedly admitted to having 3 extramarital affairs. Reportedly, this included 2 Russian women and a nuclear physicist. Apart from this, he claimed to have an affair with a medical entrepreneur. Crucially, he also accused Epstein of trying to blackmail him, reportedly, an attempt which he claimed did not succeed. That's not all. Gates allegedly knew about Epstein's conviction for a sexual offense during their first meeting in 2011, reportedly. And what was his defense for still meeting him? He reportedly deemed it fit to quote Epstein in a limited role to secure donations for his global health charities, allegedly. The Microsoft co-founder stressed reportedly that his affairs had nothing to do with his interactions with Epstein. He said, I'm quoting, Epstein was working to use information about my infidelities in addition to many lies that he led on top to pressure me to re-engage with him, quote unquote. How exactly did Epstein learn? How exactly did all of this come into the picture? Bill Gates said it was possible that he had confided in a mutual friend of fears that he may have caught a sexually transmitted disease from one of the women, reportedly. It's pertinent to note that the Gates Foundation chairperson claimed to have severe ties with Epstein in 2014, as his repeated promises to lure lucrative donors led to nothing, reportedly. While Epstein's victims have not directly accused Bill Gates of any wrongdoing, the testimony, in a way, goes to show more details about the entire episode. And also, even as he continued with this systemic abuse of minors, allegedly. A controversy that began with concerns over animal welfare has reportedly escalated into a major corruption investigation in Malaysia. Malaysian authorities are probing whether millions of dollars linked to the transfer of 3 endangered elephants to Japan were diverted away from government accounts, reportedly, triggering serious questions about how the deal was handled. Malaysia's Anti-Corruption Commission has launched a formal investigation into the relocation of 3 Asian elephants from a zoo in the Malaysian state of Perak to a zoo in Osaka, Japan. Investigators are reportedly examining allegations that payments connected to the transfer never reached Malaysian government coffers. The claims involving transactions worth nearly $12.7 million, reportedly, and several individuals allegedly linked to the arrangement. The anti-corruption agency is saying it will scrutinize the Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability Ministry, the Wildlife and National Parks Department, and agents involved in moving the animals. Officials reportedly are trying to determine whether corruption, misconduct, or abuse of power played any role in that transfer. The Malaysian Commission reportedly saying, meanwhile, that the inquiry remains at an early stage. The investigation follows a complaint, basically, from a Malaysian wildlife rights group. Lawyers representing the group alleging that money linked to the relocation bypassed official government channels and instead went to private individuals. They acknowledge that the accusation originated from a whistleblower and remains unproven. Public outrage in Malaysia has reportedly already been growing over the elephants' relocation and alleged mistreatment, with calls for the elephants to be returned to Malaysia reportedly growing as well. Asian elephants are classified as endangered, remember, making any international transfer highly sensitive. Osaka Zoo, meanwhile, saying reportedly the animals are adapting well, while Malaysian authorities maintain that any decision on their return would require a formal review and evidence of wrongdoing. Guinness World Records has officially crowned Canberra's town crier as the world's loudest person after an astonishing vocal performance. Here's more on this record-breaking shout in our next report.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! My lords, my ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Canberra! Well, I've been winning some town crying competitions, but I thought, what can I do that's a little bit different? So I turned to the Guinness World Record book and found that there was someone that had a record about 33 years ago and she hasn't lost it. And I thought, okay, let's give that a go.
While the World Cup is a contest for football's biggest prize, with teams giving their best shot on the field, off the field as well, there are titles to be won, it seems. For example, the world's sexiest footballer. While you may have your own pick, as of now, one player is getting a lot of love, admiration, and a highly sought-after title, according to many. Let's tell you who we are talking about. While Nigeria has not qualified for the 2026 World Cup, the team's goalkeeper has definitely qualified as someone who has been attracting eyeballs. His name is Maduka Okoye. The 26-year-old player basically grabbed a lot of attention and eyeballs while playing a pre-World Cup friendly against Portugal earlier this month. Specifically, his pre-match walk garnered millions of views online, and his follower count has also shot up. This is his story. He was born in August 1999 in Germany to a Nigerian father and German mother, reportedly. And as of now, continues to be a viral sensation, with many football fans also becoming a fan of his looks. Congo might have lost their match against Colombia, but there was a reason to celebrate for their fans. One of the most famous fans at the World Cup in the stands during the match against Colombia. What makes him unique also is remarkable ability to imitate a statue for the duration of a match involving his team. Not just that, also his outfit that draws attention. He has been pictured completely still for the duration of the matches, with one arm raised. While doing so, he wears a jacket, shirt, tie, and suit trousers, often recreating the colors of the Congo flag. His pose is also, in fact, a tribute to the first prime minister of the country, who was assassinated in the year 1961. And his pose basically recreates the statue, which is in Congo's capital. And he has been attending games since 2013, but came into the spotlight in such a way during the Africa Cup of Nations, which took place across December and January. He missed Congo's first World Cup game in 52 years, which was against Ronaldo's Portugal, as he was unable to attend the game because of the Ebola quarantine requirements. But he finally made it for the match against Colombia. And now he will also attend the team's final group stage match against Uzbekistan in Atlanta on Saturday. From politics and wars to financial and cultural developments, Polymarket allows users to buy and sell predictions on real-world events, whether it was the capture of the Venezuelan president, the US attack on Iran, or who will win the ongoing 2026 FIFA World Cup. But now, on the cryptocurrency betting platform, money is also being spent on faith, it seems. The prediction market on Polymarket is waging bets on whether Jesus Christ will return before 2027, and the money involved is enormous. Traders have poured nearly $64 million into this betting game, making it one of the platform's most talked about markets. The second coming has become a market of its own. Traders currently assign a 2% chance to a yes outcome and 98% chance to no. And why are people buying the no shares? Many reportedly see it as a low-risk way to earn a small return. If the event does not occur before the end of 2026, they get their money back plus a small profit. So while faith may remain beyond prediction, when it comes to Polymarket, even theology has become a trade, it seems. A calligrapher in Yemen is keeping the centuries-old tradition of handwriting the Quran alive, crafting each page with precision and care, a technique that requires years of practice and experimentation. Take a look.
There are many motivations. The first motivation, first of all, is that you become connected with the Book of God. That's one. The second thing is when you complete the Book of God, glory be to Him the Most High, this is a great feat. The third thing is that I develop my talent in my field, in the field of calligraphy.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gampir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION, world is one.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes, and millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness. In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION, World is One.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. Around 169 buildings have been totally reduced to rubble. Every time there's a warning, they just come to this public area where there are around 200 tents, and they reside for a while, and then they go back to their home. Some of the Lebanese people enjoying their time, celebrating, singing, dancing, and some others forcibly displaced. From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION The World is One.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. Get the latest updates. Breaking news. Credible, clear, continuous. Experts across aisles. Diverse voices, one platform. WION World is One.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated show with varied perspectives, expert take, citizens' voices, detailed ground reports, and in-depth coverage from political corridors of the world. This is Race to Power, only on WION.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Vielleicht nur